just want to thank you all for being here. This is such an important day. This makes a difference, not only for this campus, this makes a difference for the entirety of this community, for the entirety of the University of South Florida. You know, when we talk about increasing student housing, why is that important? It actually raises their academic performance. And when we talk about the University of South Florida, we're talking about meeting metrics that allow us to be excellent, that allows our students to be excellent. And this is another piece of that puzzle to look for that excellence and to accomplish it on behalf of our students. Imagine what we can do with some more space. We can actually bring them here and give them that community feeling and actually give them the opportunity to really have a college experience and learn what they need so that they can be successful moving forward. This new student center and residential housing complex is transformational. I cannot say it any stronger. And when it opens, in the fall of next year, we're going to have about 200 students that will actually be here and be able to benefit from it. And I think the most important thing here as I stand here and I look out at all of you is to see how this has really helped bring the entirety of the university together. The consolidation of all of our campuses just make us better, it makes us stronger, it makes us more effective, and it makes us more impactful. And so, thank you to all of you for being here because you are the extended part of our consolidation. You are the power beneath our wings that helps us move up, and we're just so excited to celebrate with you today. So I'm going to leave you with one thing, and you all know what it is. You ready? Go Bulls! Go!
Coming to you from the beautiful University of South Florida campus in Tampa, it's USF Housing Live.
Hello and welcome to USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Elizabeth Fry, the Assistant Director for Communications with Housing and Residential Education at the beautiful University of South Florida in Tampa. We have an exciting episode planned tonight to help you prepare for college. And for the rest of the summer, we'll be talking about on-campus housing, RAs, grand opening day, and a whole lot more. So be sure to join us on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. to hear from campus experts and also have your questions answered live on the show. So tonight, first we'll be joined by the Assistant Dean and Director of Residential Education, and later on in the show, we'll speak with a representative from Housing Services, their Assistant Director. So be sure to drop your questions in the comments from wherever you're watching, and we'll be sure to answer as many as we can throughout tonight's show. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sherrelle Findley. She is the Assistant Dean and Director of Residential Education. Sherrelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're excited to have you here and excited to have you on the team as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at USF.
Awesome. So again, my name is Sherrelle Findley. I'm in my 7th week as Assistant Dean of Students and Director of Residential Education. I have over 15 years of residential education experience, most recently coming from Florida Gulf Coast University, and just really excited to be here to support students and to serve students. My role is really unique in that I get to help advance the mission of student success here on this campus, and so that's specific to the 6,300 plus students who live here on this campus. And so my staff of over 230 staff members are able to welcome students, support students, and be that safety net here on campus after hours, on weekends, in support of student success.
That constant resource they can always rely on.
Definitely.
So what is residential education? I know that's really a part of who you are at this point, but for those who don't know, what is it?
So we're an area on campus that focuses on growing students outside of the classroom. And there are many places on campus where students are able to have that. But again, we have over 190 plus resident assistants and community managers who are working, they have this unique role tirelessly to make sure that students find their space here on campus. And if the space isn't here with us in terms of, maybe they found another niche here on this campus, that's fine. But our job is to make sure that students are finding that place. Outside of that, we have a residential curriculum, and it allows for students to learn about who they are and be positive contributors to communities once they leave here. And so, again, residential education is a place that I call home too, because I came up through the ranks, starting as a resident assistant and now as an assistant dean and director of residential education. But again, truly, we are the home away from home for students.
So, I mean, you've talked a lot about resources. What kind of resources does residential education offer to students here on campus?
So what we're hoping is that when students move in, they're getting settled, they're meeting their roommates, they're meeting their hallmates, they're meeting the staff that are in the building, so that we have the resident assistants, our community managers, our residence life coordinators, our assistant residence life coordinators, and the list goes on. So the support is endless. But they are connecting students to the programs and experiences that are happening. So Weeks of Welcome is an opportunity for students to immerse themselves before classes start and the first week of classes to learn about the different programs and experiences, to meet people, to connect with people, to find out what clubs and organizations they have the opportunity to be involved in. Outside of that, you have the resident assistants and community managers who are checking in with students, having those intentional conversations to make sure that their needs are being met. And then we have an awesome living and learning communities, as well as our academic initiatives crew, which are providing resources and programs like house calls, where we're going with faculty members and knocking on doors and welcoming students to our community. So there's just so much that we do. But the students, when they get here, they'll be able to learn more about it, either through directly from their RA or community manager, or before they get here, they can check everything out on the website.
And I did want to address really quick, we did have a question from Lori. The question is a little more applicable for housing. So Lori, I just wanted to let you know that we will get to that when we speak with Megan in our next break. So just so you know, we're not ignoring you. We will get to that. But Sherrelle, you've mentioned so many different opportunities for students. How can incoming students, when they get here, how can they get involved? How can they get plugged in? How can they find out what's even available for them to get plugged in with?
So Bulls Connect will be like the first, and in my opinion, one-stop shop that allows for them to see experiences that are happening not only within residential education, but across campus. So you want to definitely tap into that. Outside of that, resident assistants and community managers have the expectation that they're going to be knocking on doors and grouping students and gathering students to go to events together. And that's where I brought up Weeks of Welcome, where it allows for students to really find out and figure out what it means to be a Bull and connect to students in that way. And so I think Bulls Connect will be the easiest space to see a list and a calendar of what upcoming programs will be had on this campus.
And of course, we have links to that on our website as well. Now, I know this is very near and dear to you because it's where you kind of started, but talk about what an RA is and the resources they provide to their students.
And so RAs are so unique in that you have to really dig within yourself to want to be the person who is available almost 24/7. And so the RA is the one person for sure that you can count on in your hall or your floor or your area to be a resource to you, whether it has to do with a facilities issue, whether it has to do with maybe you're not doing so well in your classes. RAs come 2 weeks early to train to be ready to assist students. Outside of that, they are one of the biggest drivers of our residential curriculum. And so one of the major aspects of curriculum is that they are helping you sign your roommate agreements when you get here, making sure that you and your roommates know what to expect of each other and be able to hold each other accountable. They also serve on call. And so after hours, when the campus is asleep, They're around doing rounds and in support of students in any crisis that they may have. And so I, as someone who was an RA for 3 years, I'm really passionate about the work they do. They are the only staff members within residential education that touch all 6,300. I myself, none of my leadership team will ever be able to touch all 6,300 students, but our resident assistants and community managers do.
These are special people, to say the least. When you're listing off all the things that these RAs are, if someone's listening and they're like, that sounds like something I would love to do, what's the process of how they can get involved and possibly become an RA?
So annually, we have an application process. It will open up in October, and then it will close in November. When we're reviewing those applications, again, we're looking for candidates who truly want to be a part of the experience. It is something that does take a lot of your time, and we know that students are students first. And so it's important that students have the GPA and the ability to handle such a position. Once we have identified qualified candidates, they will be requested to join us for a workshop series. And when they join us for that, they will then learn of their candidacy in March of 2024. So annually, it's the same cycle. It seems kind of weird that as soon as you get here, within a couple months, you are starting the process. But again, it's just to make sure that you're prepared for the next year.
And we talked about RAs. We also have RLCs. So explain the difference and the role that they have in each of the halls.
And so what's really cool is that we have, of all the areas that we have on campus, there is a professional staff member, a bachelor's or master's level professional that is living in all of these areas. And so I hope that brings a sense of peace to our families, our students, that not only do we have resident assistants who are student workers for us, but we also have professional staff members who went to college or have life experiences that have allowed them to be in these spaces to impact and to support students. And so, again, this role manages the day-to-day functions of these separate areas or separate buildings, and they are the direct supervisors of our resident assistants and community managers.
And I want to go back to residence assistants for just a second, because we did have a question from Ariel. She asked, is an RA paid for their efforts? Yes.
So RAs, in terms of payment, they do get a free room on campus, as well as a meal plan package. But in terms of a weekly paycheck or stipend, no.
And just to cover it, what about RLCs? Is that the same for RLCs, or is that different?
RLCs are different. They're salaried positions, and they're full-time positions here on this campus.
Okay. So talk about the Residence Hall Association.
Yes.
What does that look like?
And so many campuses across this nation have what we refer to as RHA. And RHA is a governing body. I call it the umbrella for area councils. They advocate for the students. They're the voice of the students on campus. They do meet weekly or biweekly. I'm not sure, but on the website we do have a link for it, and allow for students to come voice their opinions. But also they put on programs for students. So there's already their first program is already planned. It's called Grow Your Friendship, and it's going to be on Friday at 3 p.m. August 18th. And so that information is already on Bulls Connect. And so students can go there and already RSVP for that experience. I briefly spoke about area council. What makes area council different is that it is falls under the umbrella of RHA. And so within each area, you have an area council. So again, a smaller governing body that supports the effort specifically for that building or area.
And you mentioned the event that's happening right after students move in and get to campus. And I know you touched on this a little bit with Bulls Connect, but as far as events go, talk a little bit about how students can actually access Bulls.
Bulls Connect.
It has been a long week. We're in crunch time.
Yes. You're right.
Bulls Connect. Talk about how students can access that and what that looks like when they'll log on as far as the events and organizations that will be coming up, what that will look like when they log into that site.
So when they log into the site, there is a search function. And so I know I myself navigated it yesterday since I'm newer to the campus, just to see how it looks and how user-friendly it is. It is very user-friendly. The moment you log in, you're able to see any upcoming event that's happening. So what's happening this week, what's happening next week, etc. There's also calendar functions. But for students who are specifically wanting to know what's happening in residential education, you just put residential education into the search bar, and then it will show any past programs that we've had up. So if you're just interested in saying, like, what happened last year and what might be coming this year, you can look there. And then as events are being created, they will be posted there for students to be able to RSVP to.
And before we let you go, Sherrelle, I just want to know, how excited are you to have residents on campus again?
So excited. So, I came here early summer, and we've just been preparing. So we've been in training since the last week of June, just preparing and being so intentional. This year, the theme for residential education is residential relationships for student success. And so our focus is being intentional about the relationships we build with our students in hopes that they know that we are a resource and that they can come talk to us so that we can help them to succeed and obviously fulfill that ultimate goal of getting that degree.
And I know your team is so excited too.
We are.
So if students get here, they have questions, they need to talk to a member of your team, they need to talk to you. What's the best way for them to figure out how to get in contact with you guys?
So on the Housing and Residential Education website, you are able to hit the About Us tab that's up top. And then you will see residential education team. When you click that, all of the staff are available. And so what would be most helpful is if you select the area in which you are going to be living and contact that professional staff member. But as always, we are all willing to help. So whoever is easiest for you to contact will get you to the right person.
Awesome. Well, Sherrelle, thank you. We appreciate you. I know residents are going to love to meet you. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Of course. Well, it's time for us to take a short break, but we'll be right back after this with more USF Housing Live.
Hey Bulls! While living on campus, you may need to request maintenance services. We're here to help. If you encounter a maintenance issue, contact Housing and Residential Education to let us know about it. If it is not an emergency but a routine maintenance issue, you can submit a work order online. These include issues regarding your furniture, appliances, community television, or any other non-urgent misfunctioning item. To submit a work order, visit our website and complete a maintenance request by following the instructions listed online. In maintenance emergency situations, call your building's maintenance number for immediate support. Village residents should call 813-974-6186. All other residents should call 813-974-3446. And remember, call 911 if the emergency could be harmful to you or others. Maintenance emergency circumstances include, but are not limited to, floodings, power or AC outages, or any other urgent maintenance issues. If an issue occurs between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m., contact your RA on duty for support. Housing and Residential Education is here to support you by providing a safe and healthy living environment. Thank you for choosing to live the Bulls life. Go Bulls!
Welcome back. For those of you just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live, and we're here to help you prepare to live the Bulls life at USF. So ask us your questions in the comments, and we'll answer them here live on the show. Our second guest for this evening is the Assistant Director with Housing Services, Megan Bucalos. Megan, we're so happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm great, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So just start by telling us who you are and what you do here at USF.
Absolutely. My name is Megan Bucalos. I am the Assistant Director for Housing Services. I oversee mail operations, the desk operations, any of the check-ins, check-outs, anything to do with keys, grand opening, all that jazz. That's what my team does.
It's a long list. We have some questions for you. We want to talk about the desks, mail, all of that, but we do want to answer Lori's question because she asked this earlier. She said, during winter break, can the kids leave their clothes and belongings in the hall or in their room specifically if they're returning for spring semester?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is there a process that has to happen in order for them to do that?
Nope. As long as they have that contract for the same room, then that's fine.
Nice, short and sweet. We
Yep.
love it. Okay, so talking about the desks,
Yes.
what services do those service desks provide, and where are those service desks located?
Yeah, so we have 3 service desks, and so we serve as a resource for residents as they are coming by campus, and even just students in general as they are on campus, stopping by, if they're lost, if they need anything. For the residents specifically, anything with keys, so they lose their key, keys bent, left it at home, whatever it may be, anything with their keys, they'll come to the desk, and we can always issue them a temp key, and then we'll also do lock changes as well. So especially for security reasons, they lose it, they don't know where it's at, we'll do an immediate lock change for them. They are charged for that, and we do inform them of that when that happens. And then also anything with the access cards, so their IDs. So very important, folks, that we get that USF ID when we move in and activate it as soon as possible, because that is the way you will swipe into the building. So very important you have that. If for some reason you're unable to get one for move-in day, we will issue you a temporary one, excuse me. And we will also make sure that we'll work with you if it takes a little bit longer with the ID office to get that temporary or get your permanent one. And then if you do lose your ID card, you are coming back from break, it's at home, whatever it may be, we'll reissue you a temporary card as well. So, and then for when you are moving in and out, we have these gray bins, moving bins, for people to check out at the desk locations for anything that they may need, and they can use it whenever they want to. They're available to them. But we only have about 250 for the 6,200 students we have on campus, so highly advise you to bring your own if possible, because you will end up waiting, especially like around grand opening time, for that gray cart. But there's 3 locations, as I said. So one is in the halls, that's called JPH, the lobby area. And then we have 2 satellite locations, Holly M, and then the Village, also known as the Hub, and they service that over there. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We do have some staggered different hours for some of our transition periods, early arrivals, and grand opening. All of that is on the website for all of the updates, and we do post the hours actually at our locations too.
And we have a few questions. I know you briefly mentioned the carts
Yes.
when it comes to move-in day.
Yes.
So just reiterate that again as far as what's going to be available and if people should bring their own with them when they come.
Yeah, highly recommend to bring your own if possible, so that you don't have to wait and you can move in as quickly as possible. It is a large gray moving bin. For grand opening, bull haul captains will be responsible for those. But otherwise, if you're arriving early, you'll check it out. You have 1 hour to have the cart, and then you need to return it back to the location. If you need more time, go back to the location, let us know, and we'll give you probably another hour. But understand that your fellow bulls are also waiting for that cart, so very important that you are able to give it back to us within that hour, 2-hour time frame. And then also they are around campus, so we have different locations. So every location will have carts available. So JPH will have carts available. Holly M and Village Side will also have carts available for the residents.
But they are a hot commodity, so if
They
you want to
are.
streamline your process, bring your own.
Yes, and please return them. If you do not return them, there is a $250 fee potentially. So definitely return them. We have to track down those carts.
Yeah, not fun. We have a question from Stephanie. She asks, what's the process for move-in day regarding keys and parking? What does all that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, next week, Dr. Andy Johnson will be going over all of the grand opening, but you will go to the MSC. You will bring your USF ID with you and make sure that you have that activated, and you will go to your specific building location or table, and we will issue the keys, check you in, and then you can go on your way. And depending upon your actual location of your residence hall, the parking, there will be instructions around campus, or excuse me, signs around campus of where you can go. And that specific table will also have a map for you of where you should go and park.
And of course, there'll be a lot of people around directing you to the right place.
Yes,
so
lots of people.
You won't get lost. Circling back to the service desks,
Yeah.
if students need help outside of those hours that you were talking about, what can they do? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so as Sherrelle mentioned earlier, we do have the RAs on duty. And so after hours, when the desks are closed, they will call the RA on duty for any assistance they may need. So if they're locked out, the RA will let them in.
We have questions coming in left and right. So we have a question
Okay.
from Ariel. She asked, can we bring a U-Haul?
Yes, you can bring a U-Haul. That's absolutely fine. Whatever you need to do to move in, you can do that.
But bring a cart in that U-Haul.
Bring a cart in that U-Haul if you can.
So what do students need to be bringing with them in order to get their room key when they're moving in? What does that look like?
Yeah, we just need your USF ID, preferably. If you need to pick it up from the ID card office, that is fine. You can do that during grand opening as well. Or if you're arriving early, you pick that up, activate it, and then come check in with us. That would be ideal. If for some reason you submitted your picture late or whatever it may be, you're not able to get that USF ID, we will issue you a temporary ID first, and then we will check you in. So you will need to have some sort of form of identification on you if you don't have your USF ID.
Okay. And now we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
Yeah.
On that long list of everything you were talking about that you are in charge of, the mail center.
Yes.
Talk about that. Where are our mail centers here on campus?
Yeah, we have two mail centers, a north and a south mail center. So Holly H is the north side, and south side is the JPH mail center, which is in the middle of the lobby behind the desk area. So we have two of them.
For each resident, they're placing that Amazon order, they're trying to send stuff ahead of time before they get here. How do they figure out what their specific mailing address is?
Yeah, so on Housing's website under resident services, click mail, and there you'll find all of the mail information. There's a video even that your team has provided us with how to get your mail, but you will actually put in your specific residence hall, and it will populate the address. So.
I think this question is really important, especially for those folks that are coming from out of town. When can you begin receiving mail to your on-campus address, and are people able to send that mail before they actually get here?
Yeah, we will start accepting mail 1 week prior to grand opening, and if somebody sends it early, we will check to make sure that they're a fall resident and just keep it for them. So yes, but 1 week ideally would be the soonest that you could start sending those things.
Okay. Now, if you order an item, the package happens to arrive outside of those mail center hours, what happens? Is there anyone to receive it and accept it and process it? What does that look like?
Yeah, the fortunate thing is that we have a really good relationship with our carriers, and so they know not to deliver after hours. So Eddie Richardson, who is our housing services coordinator for mail, he talks to them, and they know when they can and cannot bring packages to us. So ideally, we don't have any packages that are left outside of those hours.
Okay. And now we know this is important for you're watching your Amazon notifications. You saw it got delivered.
Yes.
What are the hours as far as when students can come and pick their mail up? And also, as I asked that question, I thought of another one in the same breath. We need to emphasize the fact that when it says Amazon has delivered it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's ready to be picked up, right?
That is correct, yes. So Amazon will say, hey, Elizabeth, it's been delivered, but we haven't processed it yet at our mail center. And so you'll want to wait until you get the notification from us. And so you'll receive a text message and an email saying, Elizabeth, your package is now ready to be picked up. So you just need to give us a little bit of time to process it and put it into inventory, but you will get notified when that does happen. So
Just be patient.
Just be patient, yes.
As much as you can.
Yes.
And what about those hours? Where are the hours?
Yes, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then Saturdays are 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Sundays are closed because we don't receive mail. We do have a staggered hour or different hours for Saturday, August 19th. We will be open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I believe, on that day. So.
Okay. And again, all that's on our website too.
Everything's on the website, yeah.
So this is especially applicable for people as they're moving in. What about those larger items like furniture? Is that able to be received here at our mail centers?
Yeah, so something important to note is all the furniture that's in your residence hall room needs to stay there first and foremost. So we cannot take those beds out, desks out, or anything like that. All of it needs to stay put. But any other extra furniture that you want to bring, check the website to see what is allowed and what isn't allowed. So.
Again, the website is an excellent resource. All the information
yes,
is
at your
right there.
fingertips.
As far as students moving in, there's so much happening. There's so much going on. Campus is going to be bustling. It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
What's your advice to them?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. It's one of my favorite days. I call it our Super Bowl here. So just come with a positive attitude and understand there's a lot of people that are trying to move in at the same time. There are going to be some long lines for those carts if you're not bringing a cart yourself, elevators as well. But it's going to be a good time. We're here to help you, anything that you may need. So once you leave the MSC, you should have all the information to go check in and get settled and, meet everybody in your hall, your RA, your RLC, and just kind of have a good time here. So my biggest advice, bring a cart if possible, but bring a positive attitude and lots of water as well. So we will have different water stations around for hydration, but yes, it'll be a hot one. So make sure you stay hydrated.
Water and sunscreen, the
Yes,
essentials.
sunscreen too, yes, yes.
Megan, as people get on campus, they're going to be figuring out all the hours, the service desk, mail, all of that. If they have questions, what's the best way for them to ask those questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find all of my team's emails and information on the website. You can also just email me, Megan Bucalos at usf.edu as well, and I can help you.
Awesome. Well, Megan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And good luck as we navigate these next 2 crazy, exciting weeks.
Yes, thanks, Elizabeth.
Of course. Now, if you have any further questions for our guests, please feel free to reach out to their offices. And if you have any questions about living on campus at USF, you can reach our office by email at housing@usf.edu or by phone at 813-974-0001. Be sure to join us for our next episode of Housing Live next Wednesday, August 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we will be talking with Dr. Andy Johnson and answering all of your questions about grand opening day. You can watch on our Facebook or YouTube page or the USF Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls. Good night, everyone.